Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of Empowering Intuitives Talk Show. I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Michelle Walker. I am a spiritual medium, medical intuitive, and author and mentor. So welcome back to the show. Tonight, I wanted to talk a little bit about our intentions and how our thoughts are affecting us in the physical. And I know that if you are new to your spiritual journey and you kind of like tap into the new age community or the spiritual community, you hear these things and it's a hard sell for some people. But I want you to take a minute and I want you to think about it. Think about this. If you wake up, say you wake up and you just are in a bad mood, that happens from time to time. And what's the first thing you start saying to yourself? You start to repeat a mantra. I know I've done this where I'm like, man, I don't want to go to work. Oh, I don't want to do this today. I want to stay in bed, right? And then as the day starts to move forward, what happens? Then you start picking out the negative and reaffirming, oh, I knew I should have stayed home in bed. This is just a terrible morning, right? And so you continue to then justify and then give yourself examples, right? So you're manifesting what's going on. And all it takes is a shift in perspective you might still feel like, man, I wish this day was over, but you're not saying it. You're not building on it and making it dramatically worse, right? You're trying to neutralize or stay focused in another positive. Same thing is true if you wake up in a really good mood and just all of a sudden feels like everything's easy peasy. You're in the flow. You hit all the green lights on the way to work. Everything's working out beautiful, have you had those days as well, right? And you just keep saying, man, I love my life, right? So we really have a lot of power over our experience. And so I want to talk about, if you've followed me for the past, oh my gosh, I don't know, 10, 15 years about trying to educate people about these kind of topics. I have talked about in the past about the Japanese scientist and the water studies, right? Dr. Emoto, and he did this research for over 20 years where it was groundbreaking to see that our ideas, our thoughts, and our intentions actually impact the physical realm. And he did this through magnetic resonance analysis technology and like high speed photography. And he captured water molecules. And so he looked at water molecules, and the whole research was about studying and giving the scientific data where if water can be transformed by human words, thoughts, sounds, and intentions. And so what they did was they exposed water to positive things. And I'm just going to show you some pictures. I wish they were in the color, but they're not. So you can see here, this is love and gratitude. Look how beautiful. It looks like a beautiful snowflake, right? And then look, the words here, the opposite is true, right? The words, you disgust me. And look how the pattern of the same water molecule, how it changed. This is eternal and peace and thank you. And look at this one, evil. It looks like an evil eye, right? So how fascinating is this? It is really, really this simple. And I love this one too. This photograph, this was water beforehand. It had already been exposed to negative or fearful words and experience. And then it was exposed to a Buddhist prayer. So prayer, our intentions, and look how it transformed from that to that. So think about that. Doesn't that make sense? When you are in prayer, you come out of meditation. Don't you feel enlightened? Don't you feel more inspired? Don't you feel more upbeat? And doesn't that feel different than, oh, I don't want to do anything. I feel depressed. Our whole body language changes. Our whole aura, everything changes. And it down to the molecular structure of our atoms, of our water molecules. And we're made up mostly of water. So this is such powerful stuff. So if this makes any kind of sense to you, I have some help for you. Some of this has to do with our old programming. Spirit has been talking a lot this week when I've come out of meditation, what I've seen with my patients and with people in the world in general. And it is a lot of people say knee-jerk things. It's a lot of our old programming, our old tapes. And years ago, when I started on my spiritual journey, like so many other people across this globe, we found Wayne Dyer. And for me, he was one of the really pivotal teachers for me in the beginning when I realized, oh my gosh, I can change this. I have the power to make change here instead of being the victim of my old programming. And some of that programming was from when I was a small child. And so, I am a firm believer that it's our responsibility to identify these things, learn how as many tools as possible to help us heal so that we don't take this stuff any further and we can heal it. And not only that, but it changes how you experience your daily life in your physical body. And a lot of people on here really don't know my personal history, but I was in a transformative accident many years ago, and that spontaneously launched me forward into my spiritual journey. I had always been a natural intuitive, but I fought it for many years. But I'll tell you, after my accident, and I sustained a lot of injury, had a very difficult time rehabbing off work for 6 months, rehabbing for over 2 years to be able to walk and to have function of my upper body. And I still have some issue, but nothing like I did then. And it was crippling. So people that are in chronic pain, I get you. I understand what that is all about. And it can be so debilitating. You don't want to move. And that then those negative programmings that, oh, I'm in so much pain. I'm in so much pain. And then the pain just amplifies. But I am here to tell you that you can make that change. You have to heal these things, and you have to learn to identify what role you're playing in this, and your words, your self-talk, all of that is the key to shifting your experience. Now, do I still have pain? Well, yeah, obviously. As much injury as I've sustained in that and other things in this life, yes. But does it limit me from functioning? Not anymore. So there are ways. So I hope that inspires you to be able to begin to look at your role in this. And I know nobody likes to take the blame for how their life is, but guess what? It's our job. It is our job to do it. Okay, so that is it on that. If you can Google this up and you can find some more information about this study, but that's the gist of it. Other teachers that I would tell you that I really enjoyed is definitely Wayne Dyer. Louise Hay is another one. Fantastic information. There's just so much through the Hay House whole group there. There's I have Williamson, and there's just so many names that are just thrown at me right now. So there's a lot that have a lot of the same kind of message about mindfulness, and really owning that and making the change. So I encourage you to seek that out and follow what your gut tells you. If this makes sense and it resonates with you, then explore that and start to police your own brain and your own mind. Okay, guys, we're going to drop that. Let's take a call. We have Natasha in Youngstown, Ohio. Natasha, are you with us, my dear?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, thanks for calling in.
Thank you for taking the call.
Absolutely. Do you have an area that you would like me to look at for you?
Yes, more in particular, I had just recently lost my grandmother.
Aw.
And so I was looking into mediumship.
Okay.
To try to get some clarity and some closure, so to say.
Oh, absolutely. So, I pulled a card for you here, and the 10 of Spring came up, and this was about asking for help from others, all work and no play, being weighed down by too many responsibilities. And, as soon as you said your grandmother, I felt her coming right in, and she was talking about strawberries. So I don't know if she really loves strawberries or what the connection is there with strawberries, but that was the first thing that she brought up was she into gardening?
My grandfather was, and we had strawberry plants in the backyard.
Were you with her? She's telling me you used to help. You were used to be out there picking. She put you to work, she's saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's bringing that. she's like, I put her to work. I put her out there with the strawberries, and there was always stuff to do. And she loved having you around. And she's just saying that you were such a beautiful light for her. And you allowed her to indulge her silliness. And even though she was a very determined kind of woman, when she had her mindset, forget about it. You weren't changing that for nothing. Does that make sense?
Oh no. Yes.
She
Yes,
says,
definitely.
you get your stubbornness from me, she says. And she's chuckling a little bit about that. She's just saying that but you do, she likes the card that was pulled. She says you do need to find a better balance because you can tend to follow in her footsteps and be all work, 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 work. And I feel like, did you think of her as a mom type of figure? Because she's saying you were very close.
Wow. She raised me.
Okay, that's what I'm getting. Like, she's saying we were really close, like mom. And she's just saying that you were such a pleasure for her and you kept her young at heart. And when she wanted to find the hard lines, you were right there with your own hard lines. And that was the challenge for her. But she's saying secretly, I thought that was funny. Secretly. She wouldn't own that to you straight out, right? Like she wouldn't
No,
let you
she
know you
wouldn't.
got the best of, but you got the best of her sometimes. And she says, you left me speechless many times. She goes, where I actually just had to go, okay, that's it, and walk away. Because she just didn't have a good
Yeah.
comeback. She said, you were very quick-witted. Does this make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
She's talking about, like, I don't know how old you are now, but she's talking about like high school teenage boyfriend, and you two really went head to head about something. Does this ring a bell?
It's my current fiance. Me and him, we met when I was 15 years old.
Well, there's a couple of aspects about this relationship. She doesn't like how he talked to you sometimes, or how he's treated you sometimes. You guys like hit in the head. And
yes, we were always hitting heads, yes. But it was exactly it.
She's saying that, you're going to have to see this for yourself. But she says there's some good aspects to the relationship, but she also doesn't want you to settle into something just because it's known and familiar. She doesn't want you to ever feel like you're settling in life, and she wants you to look at the good and the bad in this relationship before marriage and really decide if you want to get married. It's okay to continue as you are. She has hesitation about it until some things can change, till the way that the communication is being. And she's saying some of it is just you guys being young, but some of it is you two are already in this ebb and flow dance, and it's hard to make change. Do you understand?
Yes.
And she's also afraid that you're limiting yourself from your own spiritual growth because he's not growing in the same kind of way. And she says, please don't let that hold you back in life. That will be a regret down the road. If you can still kind of grow, even if it's off-sided, it's okay, but you both have to be moving forward. So she's just given a little bit of hesitation, and she goes, I'm not dropping this.
No, she won't.
She's not dropping it. Just let you know that it ain't happening. And she does wish you all the best, and she is letting you know that she's still watching over. Now, did this recently happen? I feel like she knocked over a broom whenever there was a disagreement. Does this make sense?
Not that I recall, but when we got into our disagreement, it was more over the phone. So
no.
She did. That was on.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. What she's saying is you and your fiance maybe recently had a disagreement, and I feel like she knocked over like a broom or like a mop or something fell over, and you guys were like, what was that?
Yeah, I think it was a mop, if I'm not mistaken.
She's telling me this was her trying to get your attention during that disagreement. So she's letting you know that's her validation that she's there. She knows what's going on. And so she's not going to allow any of that funny business, as according to her words, funny business. She's not going to let that happen. She's going to let you guys know that
No.
she's around. So trust and know that she is always there with you. And now, were you thinking about going back to school? There's something about further education.
Eventually, when my youngest went to kindergarten.
Okay. Well, because she's making you keep that goal forward for you. Don't lose sight of that goal is what she's saying. And it's very important. So life can happen. You can get busy. Other things can come upon you, but don't lose track of who you are and what you want for you. That's the most important thing that she wants to make sure that you hear from this is she's good with whatever you decide, but she's going to always have a strong opinion, and that's okay. But you have to follow your heart and don't lose sight of what you want for you. Because ultimately you have to be happy. This is your life. And yes, if you're happy, everybody else is going to be happy around you too, right? We just talked about the water and how that affects our whole body and our whole life. So she wants you to be happy. Don't feel like I can't do something. If you really want it, you'll find the way. So that's her validation that she's still dangling the carrot of school. Don't let it get too far out there. And it's okay if you decide not to do it, because you just don't want it anymore versus there's barriers to it. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I am going to.
I have one last question. Prior to her passing, and this is where I need a question, what I need answered, I guess you can say. She recently passed, and I was with her in her last moment. I just want to know, when she woke back up after taking her last breath, was that her being worried?
I didn't hear the last part of what you said.
Was that her being worried when she woke up?
No. She says, no. She passed very peacefully, she's telling me. She wasn't worried. She felt very loved and comforted. I think it was just the physicalness of the body letting go, she's saying. She was over in the interim space way before she passed. So she was just hopping back and forth. So she was perfectly contented over on the other side. Now, during that passing, it might not have seemed like it because she was, talking to spirit on the other side or more restless. And then she got very peaceful. But that was all interaction on the other side, honey. She was over there, and just her physical body was making the movements and things like that. But no, she's telling me she passed very calmly into spirit, surrounded by loved ones and her divine team. So no, she was not. And she was so grateful that you were there. It was very comforting to her. Okay? I'm going to leave that with so much love, my dear.
Thank you. I appreciate this.
Oh, you are very, very welcome. Take care, my dear.
You too.
All right. And so we have Corey in British Columbia, Canada. Hi, Corey. Are you there? Hello, Corey. Uh-oh. Well, until then, let's pull a card. We will see. Gotta love technology, right? All right. So I got a card that came up for the collective. And so this fairy card is a major arcana. It is renewal. Review the past and the present so you can plan a bright new future. Understanding your life purpose and releasing judgments of yourself and others. Well, isn't this timely for things that are coming up for all of us right now? And so it goes really well with what we were just talking about, right? So about really looking at ourselves and looking at not too long ago, the end of June, which was a couple weeks ago, they were talking about reviewing this part of the past 6 months, what we're wanting for the next 6 months. So that card is very, very timely. All right, Corey, hi, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Hi, well, welcome to the show. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
Did you have an area that you would like me to look at?
Yeah, past with my father.
Oh, okay. So I pulled a card here. This stopped on the Five of Spring, opposing goals arising from differing opinions, feeling at odds with yourself or others, and overly ambitious people. And so your father is in spirit?
Yes, he is.
And would you understand him to be a kind of firm guy about certain things? When he had a hard line, he had a hard line about it.
Yes.
And
there was no changing his mind on anything.
Oh. yeah, for sure. Very, very one-sided about things, and he often was resistant to hear other people's opinion if it differed dramatically from his. So he's kind of a black and white kind of guy with his thinking, very linear, a very smart man, but he thought you needed to be more serious about things, and you were more of a free spirit, and he wanted you to be like regimented. Would you understand that?
Yes.
And what I'm getting is he's saying that he feels like he has some regret about not allowing you to just express who you are, and he sees now how much anxiety and turmoil that it has caused you. Would you understand that? Like you would
Yes.
You swallowed it, if you will. And I feel like it gives you a lot of GI upset and some anxiety. And he's apologizing for that. And he's saying, I didn't realize how sensitive or how harsh I was for how sensitive you are. He kind of knew it, but he had no idea, no coping. He said, that's not an excuse, but he just didn't know how to communicate. It was like, they talk about men and women can't communicate, men from Mars and women are from Venus. He's like, feels like that's how you guys were. Like, he's like, I couldn't speak the same language. He couldn't understand how to do it. And that frustrated him. And it just, I feel like his dad was really hard on him and kind of like beat him into submission into one way. And he didn't want to be that kind of person. And he feels like he ended up being the same thing, And he says, I feel like you weren't very close, but you tried. And despite his barriers, he is apologizing.
Yeah,
And he's apologizing. And I don't know if you're actually in counseling and you're talking with anybody, but he's saying that is a good thing, that you are finally starting to open up and starting to deal with the trauma, if you will, of that relationship.
Yes.
And he's saying, find somebody, if you are talking to somebody, find somebody that is doing trauma counseling and healing, because it's a lot of unwinding those things. And, we were just talking about that earlier about the old programs, and you have some really negative programs instilled from a young age, and he's taking responsibility for a lot of it. And I feel like he was not so nice with mom because mom sided with you, and then he felt like he was ganged up on, and it was just a kind of toxic situation, if you will. And she was always trying to be the barrier, the buffer.
Yeah, she was.
And mom's still living, correct?
Yes.
He's saying he's apologizing to her. He's saying, I don't know if she has heart issues, but he's concerned that is she taking good enough care of her heart? Is she taking good enough care of herself? Because it's not just affected you, it's affected her as well. And so, he really would be, he says, if you guys could find a place of forgiveness, I would welcome the forgiveness, but he is apologizing and he wants you guys to forgive for you. It's really important before you leave the earth plane, both you and mom, that you find a place of letting it go, let it go, for your overall health. And your health will change dramatically. I'm hearing about talking to somebody and doing something called restructuring. Now, there's some people you can Google up. There's a fantastic person that I know in Lilydale, Tom Kratzley. He does restructuring, would be amazing here. Listening to maybe some Wayne Dyer and listening about these old memes and how different ways, that would be helpful. But I feel like it's pretty ingrained, and mom has some stuff to look at too. So therapy would be very, very welcomed. He wants you to know that he's supporting you. I feel like you're very anxious about maybe an upcoming career move or something that you wanted to kind of just be in more of an entrepreneur and do your own thing. He's saying, do it. Don't let me and my negative stuff stop you from being who you want to be. And were you interested in doing something like travel, like with a career like traveling of some kind?
Yeah, actually interested in traveling with the church.
Okay. Yeah, because he's like saying, do it, do it, do it. Like before, if he was on the earth plane, he probably would have tried to talk you out of it and say negative things. But he's like, no, go do this. It'll be fantastic for you. You'll meet more people. You'll get out. You'll see the world. Like, go, 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 go. He's like, do it. That will be so helpful for you. He just wants you to know that he's still around. He is supporting you, and he gets it now. He wants you to know, I understand it now, and I'm sorry that I couldn't do it while I was on the earth plane. But please find a place of forgiveness for you so you can let this go and stop carrying this weight and move forward. And he wants you to have a very happy life. Go do what you want to do. Okay?
Okay.
I'm going to leave that with so much love, my dear. I wish you all the best, and you can do this. You can make this complete change. So much love to you.
Okay.
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome, my dear. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I appreciate you guys checking in with us, and thank you, Spirit, for the readings tonight. And I hope you all have a fantastic week. I'll see you back here next week. Namaste.